And I'd like you to welcome you to, sorry, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of the Wow Wednesday. As usual, my name is Ziggy Owei. I'll be your host. And today we are taking on a very, very important topic called the migraine solution. Yeah, so our topic today is the migraine solution. And you know what struck me about this topic is this is something that only the person going through the experience really knows what they're going through. It's so difficult for someone to understand and appreciate what the person going through a migraine is going through. So that is something that has struck me about this topic. And then having had it in my own family, it was absolutely incredible to see the unique way that my daughter handled hers and got a solution for herself and went through that whole journey and process. So it's something that, you know, really, really struck me. And, you know, they say experience is the best teacher. I'll just give you like a very quick example. We women, how many of you are women on the call? If you're a woman on this call, just give me a thumbs up, raise up your hand. Let me see, give me a thumbs up on the chat box. I would love to see if we have women on the call right now. Any women on the call? Any women? I've not seen hands up. Give me a thumbs up if we have women on the call. There you go. Fantastic. Boom. Yeah, that's awesome. So we have women on the call. And if you're a woman on the call, you know you have gone through childbirth, right? If you've gone through childbirth, some women may have gone through childbirth. You know you have gone through childbirth, right? Fantastic. Great stuff. More hands popping up. And then you go to see a male gynecologist and they are telling you about childbirth, you know. Please tell me, who do you think will be in the best position to tell you about childbearing? Obviously, the one who has experienced it, because there are certain things that they learn in theory that just is not the same as going through the experience. And that's exactly what this migraine is like. So for mothers in the house, that can just give you a little bit of picture or understanding of exactly what I'm talking about here. So to think that in the past, when I knew, you know, growing up and, you know, when I was, you know, much younger, migraine used to be something for adults, like, you know, my mother, my father, my uncle, my auntie, you know, big people. But in today's world, even children, teenagers, young adults are actually suffering from migraine. Why is that so? What has changed? What is going on? And why do we have more and more people going through this serious problem? Having a migraine, I mean, think of when you have a headache, what it looks like, and then think of that times how many, which is what we call a migraine. So today I have a very special guest on the call. I am actually very, very excited, very grateful, and very happy. I'll tell you what happened when I sent her this topic to ask if she would be willing to take on this topic for us, knowing that she had gone through this experience and what she did to overcome it. I second-guessed myself and I deleted the message. I said, oh, maybe she wouldn't want to do this. And then she wrote back and said, why did you delete the message on migraine? And I was like, oh my goodness, she read it already. And I said, oh, I thought you would not be willing to take on the topic. She said, no, I'll be happy to do it. I was so blown away. I was very excited and very happy. So, and this lady I'm talking about is my own daughter. She's the second out of my 4 daughters. She's a cognitive scientist. So she's also studied something that has to do with the, you know, human mind, the brain and all of that, which also has to do with psychology and all that. I won't bother going into her educational experience. She went to University of Southern California and graduated from there. And now she's doing what we call a National Youth Service program in Nigeria, which you have to do before you start actually working. So she's working in the National Communications Commission in Nigeria. So that will be her background. But then cognitive science, I mean, has so much in it, like you're going to see from her today. But most importantly, she's here tonight on this portal as a survivor and someone who found her own unique way to survive and can be of help to so many people out there, whether you have a child that has gone through this or is going through this, or an adult, a parent, or you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but then you'll be armed with the information that you need for this evening. So I'm just going to introduce Pearl, if you can join us. Her name is Pearl Owei. If you can unmute yourself and put on your video so we can see you. Hello, Pearl. Awesome. How are you? You're still muted.
Yes,
I said, how are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. So yeah, Pearl is joining us from Abuja in Nigeria. And if our Zoom master can help us make it a side-by-side view, thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm so grateful for your work, Mr. Henry Moyo. So thank you so much for joining us, Pearl. How was your day at work today?
It was good, long, but it was good.
Okay, that's great. So we are very glad and very happy to have you on the call. So the first part of this evening, I'm just going to be handing over to Pearl. She has prepared a presentation for us, which we're going to listen and learn and also share her story in the process. And after that, we will then ask questions. But please feel free to post on your on the chat box the questions you may have as she speaks. I have some questions and I'm sure we will have a lot of questions. And yes, well done to everyone giving her a shout out. Please give her a big welcome on the chat box. We are so glad to have you in today's call. So over to you, Pearl. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna share my screen. Is it sharing?
Yes, absolutely. We can see it, Claire.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just give a brief presentation on migraine and what it is, what are different triggers cause, and like also how I was able to manage my migraines and take them from chronic to almost non-existent. So yeah, let's get started. So what exactly is a migraine? A migraine is a complex neurological condition that affects millions of people, and it's the most common neurological disease that has significant effect on the brain and consequently on behaviors associated with repeated migraine. So most people, not most, but many people think that migraine is just a type of headache or a very severe headache, but it's not. It's a neurological disease that has a specific type of headache as its main symptom. But there are many other different symptoms that are associated with migraine attacks. So some interesting migraine statistics include 20 million migraine attacks occur every day worldwide, and women are 3 times more affected by migraines a day than men. And 25% of women and 8% of men on average will suffer from migraines sometime in their life. 50% of affected women suffer from more than one migraine a month. 1 out of every 20 children suffer from migraines, and 62% of migraines in children last for more than 24 hours. So like I already said, migraine is not just a headache, but it's a neurological condition. So recurrent migraines, which last anywhere from 4 to 72 hours, is the main symptom of a migraine attack. And it's a throbbing pain on one side of the head. It's not always throbbing, but the most common symptom is a throbbing headache on half of the head. So some other common symptoms of migraine include the headache that we just described, ringing in the ears, neck or shoulder pain, nausea, intolerance of light and sound, vomiting, irritability. And some other common symptoms that are not listed on this diagram are blurred vision or seeing flashing lights during an attack. So what causes migraine? The cause of migraine is unknown. So the cause of migraine as the neurological disease is unknown. But researchers believe that serotonin is highly involved in migraine. So it's believed that an imbalance in serotonin is a big, maybe a cause to migraine, but the exact cause is unknown. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter in the brain, which is like a chemical in the brain. So another interesting fact about migraines is that 1/2 of all migraine sufferers experience their first attack under the age of 12, which suggests a genetic component, because if you're experiencing something in childhood, it's most likely that there's a genetic etiology, or that it's hereditary in some way. Also, 90% of migraine sufferers have a relative who also suffers from migraine, which is a very strong suggestion that it's genetic. So for me, my grandmother suffered from migraines when she was younger, and my younger sister also now suffers from migraines. So it runs in families for most people. So another interesting finding about migraines is that before puberty, young boys are more, and this has to do with hormone fluctuations and imbalances during male puberty. And migraine has a huge impact on people's lives. The WHO lists migraine as one of the top 20 most debilitating illnesses in the world. And in the US, migraine costs around $20 billion annually in missed work days. And it's classified as chronic migraine is classified as a disability in the workplace. So it's true that we don't know the cause of migraine, but there are a lot of identified triggers of migraine attacks. So stress, obviously being the main trigger. Stress is a big trigger of most chronic illnesses, and it's the same with migraine, especially chronic stress. Processed food, most of our food is full of chemicals that are terrible for our health. And even organic foods these days, food that's allowed to be classified as organic is still allowed to have some chemicals in it, just less than food that's non-organic. But yeah, the worst is still obviously processed, packaged, or frozen foods from the grocery store, because they're packed with preservatives. Then there's also lack of sleep. Weather changes. Many people experience migraines with weather changes because some people, like for example, some people suffer from seasonal depression, and that's when there's no sunlight, your vitamin D levels decrease, and vitamin D plays a huge role in supporting the production of neurochemicals in your brain. So the same thing happens with migraine, is that when the weather changes, some people don't get enough vitamin D, and then this has an effect on the production of neurotransmitters in their brain. So weather changes is one, and then lack of sleep is also a big one. That's self-explanatory, and then skipping meals, also fluctuation in blood sugar levels can cause migraine attacks. Then, okay. What are the stages of migraine? So migraine has 4 stages. Now, not everybody experiences all 4 of these stages. Some people don't even experience any stages except the attack, but most people experience some of the stages. The 4 stages are prodrome, aura, migraine attack, and postdrome. So in the prodrome, which is a few hours or days before, people can experience irritability, increased need to urinate, nausea, difficulty sleeping, fatigue, muscle stiffness, food cravings, mood, sensitivity to light, mood changes, and problems concentrating. And then the aura lasts for 5 to 60 minutes before the migraine attack. And this is where people experience visual disturbances, temporary loss of sight, numbness, and tingling of parts of the body. And then the actual migraine attack, which is anywhere from 4 hours to 72 hours, and 7 hours is usually the average. There's a throbbing, drilling, or burning headache. So not only throbbing, but it can be drilling or burning as well on one side of the head. But people in the migraine, people also experience nausea, vomiting, insomnia, anxiety, depressed mood, neck pain and stiffness, sensitivity to light, smell, sound, nasal congestion, and dizziness. Not everyone experiences all of these symptoms, but these are all just symptoms that people can experience. And then post-drome is after the migraine attack, and people can experience irritability, inability to concentrate, fatigue, depressed mood, lack of comprehension, or a euphoric mood. Now, there are also migraines that happen without a headache. So all of those symptoms that I just said, like some people experience this phenomenon, but without the actual headache. And this can happen in pain is in your abdomen instead of the head. And it can also happen with ocular migraines where you have visual disturbances without a pain in your head. Yeah, and migraines are diagnosed as chronic when somebody is having more than 15 migraine days per month. So half or more than half of the month, someone's having migraines. And so that's what's called chronic migraine. So there are some mainstream Western medicine like treatments for migraines currently. They have medicines. There's preventative and abortive medicines. Most of the preventative medicines that are given for migraines right now are kind of like atypical antidepressants that were previously used, and they're given at a very, very low dose. And what they do is they increase the serotonin levels a little bit, because serotonin also is related to depression. And then there's also some other invasive procedures that are done, like Botox, occipital nerve stimulation, and SPG block, which is when they inject anesthesia to a group of nerves behind your nose.
Okay, I think she's frozen. I don't know if it's only on my side. Let me find out what's happening with her network. Just give me a second, you all. Can you all hear, or it's only frozen on my side? Let's see. Can you let me know on the chat box if you can hear? Or I'm the only one seeing it. Okay, we've lost her. Okay, that's fine. I'm sure she will jump in a jiffy. So I hope that so far we are learning quite a lot on this. Oh, okay, you could hear her. I see. Yeah, so she's jumped off. I think it's network. I'm going to see if she can connect back very quickly, if you give me a moment. But I hope so far you have been getting valuable information from what she has been sharing so far. I'm just going to try to get her on the call because this aspect she has to actually do. So Pearl, we've lost you on the call. Are you jumping back on? I'm trying, but I don't know why there's no data. One second. Yeah, she's trying to connect, reconnect. Just give us a little bit more, a few more minutes. Yeah, let's be typing in all our questions from now so that we can get ready for her by the time she's done. And imagine some of the very interesting things that are coming out to me in this presentation, which I had no idea about, that you can have a migraine and it's actually, you're not feeling a headache, it's in your stomach. This is, I mean, incredible. So sometimes when, you know, our children or people we know are going through some stuff, we don't even know what it is. And we think, you know, it's a tummy bug or is this, and you start treating for something else. So it's quite interesting to get all these facts that she's just shared. And why it's also important to ensure that you don't just self-medicate, at least get diagnosed before you now know what to do with the treatment. So that's very, very valuable information as well. Yeah. Are you in? Okay, yeah, so she's back in. If we can make her a co-host again so she can share her screen. Thank you so much. Yeah, just hold on. I'm trying to find your name here. I can't see your name. It's showing as my name. Okay, so Zoom Master, Mr. Moyo, please, if you can find the second Ziggy Owei on the list there, kindly make it a co-host. Make that name a co-host. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Super, you're in, so let's go.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just share my screen. Okay.
Sorry, if you can start from the screen before this, because we were not hearing you in the screen before this one.
We're not hearing this?
Yes, this was where you got stuck.
Oh, okay. So basically I was talking about how these are the mainstream solutions right now for mainstream medicine. They include medications that are preventative and abortive, and the preventative medications are usually atypical antidepressants that were used before, and they give them at very, very low doses in order to increase the serotonin in the brain a little bit, since serotonin works for migraines and also for depression. And then abortive medications are usually painkillers. So medications don't work for everyone. Actually, a lot of medications for migraine don't work for migraine sufferers. And then some also get special procedures such as Botox, occipital nerve stimulation, and SPG block. SPG block is when they inject anesthesia straight into the nerve cluster behind your nose to stop the pain of the migraine. And then some people also use nerve stimulated devices such as Cephalate and Spring TMS. So a lot of these are quite invasive, and the medications don't always work. And for sometimes you have side effects, or some people don't react well to them. So my solution, first of all, I just like to say that it's important to see a medical professional whenever you are dealing with any health issue. Like, the first step was to always see a medical professional. I saw a medical professional, and I'm also not a medical professional, so everything I'm saying in here is just like my experience of how I was able to combat migraines. So I saw a medical professional, and it's important because you need to confirm the diagnosis, since migraine comes with so many different symptoms. And so there need to be different tests and scans. Like, there needs to be like MRIs, CTs, EMGs. Like, for me, I had nerve tingling was one of my symptoms for my migraine. So they needed to do an EMG, which checks the conduction of your nerves, but it was normal. So MRI was normal, CT is normal. So it was part of the diagnosis process for migraine. There also needs to be lab work. They need to check if you have any low minerals, any low vitamins that might be causing it, any low nutrients, or any other underlying illness that's causing it. And then also it can be helpful to try the medications that they give you, because for example, if you're the kind of person that your migraine can be stopped by like a simple like NSAID, then it probably is worth it to try that, because they don't have that many side effects. But for most people, that's not the case. So yeah, I didn't like the medications, and so I tried something else. So for me, I was lucky because the treatment center, I was referred to a neurologist at the school hospital, and they had alternative treatment options as well as medications, because it's very widely known that medications don't always work for people. So I started on the alternative treatment route, and I was doing a 12-week program of occupational therapy, physical therapy, and pain psychology. This is because my migraines were chronic, so more than 15 days out of the month. So yes, occupational therapy is basically working with someone to organize your life in a way that's conducive to migraine. And for migraine, that means putting as much structure and routine in your everyday life. The more routine and structure you have in your days, the less likely you're going to have a migraine being triggered. A very important thing also working with the occupational therapist is to identify all your triggers. So lack of sleep, you then know that you have to make sure to sleep 8 hours every night. Maybe certain lights, certain foods that you've eaten. It's just working with someone to organize your day and like make sure you schedule everything, make sure you have a healthy morning and night routine, and incorporate physical activity into your days as well. So yeah, then physical therapy can be very helpful too. If you have strained muscles in your back or neck and shoulders, it can cause your migraines to last longer. So going for physical therapy sessions in that initial stage for me was helpful to release the tension in my back and shoulders and neck. And it reduces the pain, and it can reduce the length of the migraine. And then pain psychology. So pretty much all chronic pain has a psychological component, and it's important to have positive thought processes about the pain in order not to exacerbate it. So pain psychology, you work with someone to go through different thought patterns of how to think about the pain, and biofeedback training is a new technique that shows that you can calm your nervous system through breathing techniques. So that's also something that you practice with a pain psychologist, and it all helps to reduce the severity of the migraines and the frequency. So for me, supplements was a very big part as well of my treatment. I actually had low vitamin D. It was not that low, but I could benefit from a vitamin D supplement. So that was a supplement that I was taking, and I still take vitamin D. I did magnesium IV infusions. Magnesium plays a role in nerve health and brain health. And at the neurological center in the hospital that I was being treated, they had magnesium infusions, and I did 4 of them. And then omega-3 fatty acids. This is a very big one because omega-3 fatty acids are actually a direct precursor to serotonin production. And like I said before, serotonin has been identified that it's linked to migraines. So taking omega-3 fatty acid supplements can increase your serotonin production and therefore reduce your migraines. And then any powerful antioxidants that reduce the amount of free radicals in your brain. are very helpful. Um, so, because free radicals, they damage your nerve cells in your brain. So, powerful antioxidants or supplements that increase antioxidants in your body, they are very helpful for migraine treatment as well. Um, Now, diet, like this is very controversial because um, everyone like thinks the keto diet is very controversial. So I just want to reiterate that it's important to see a medical professional because it's not everyone that should be playing around with their diet. If you have any other underlying health issues, it might cause problems. So it's important to always see a medical professional. But for me, the keto diet was a very powerful tool in reducing my migraines. I like it's controversial because it's said to be unbalanced, but if you believe that diets can play a role in your health, then it makes sense that somebody who's healthy should not be eating the same way as somebody who's having more than 15 migraines a month. And so it's okay to not be eating a balanced diet while trying to treat a debilitating illness. And healthy people should always focus on eating a balanced diet with the same amount of nutrients from every food group. Um, so yeah, basically the keto diet for me had many benefits to your brain. It increases omega fatty acids naturally because it's high in healthy fats and low in carbohydrates. So you eat a lot of avocados, salmon, and fatty fish, oils, and nuts, and those all have omega fatty acids. Ketones, which is what your body is fueled on when you're on the keto diet, are a cleaner form of energy for the brain than glucose is. So in the moment that you're experiencing migraines, it can be a relief if the brain is burning ketones instead of glucose because it's creating less oxidative stress in the process. So it's damaging less nerves. And sugar is also a very common trigger for migraines. So if you're on a diet that has little to no sugar, it's going to benefit you. But like I said, this is a controversial diet and it's also an extreme diet and it's not good for everyone to go on. So there are alternatives such as the Mediterranean diet, which is much more widely accepted. And it also has benefits for combating migraines. It focuses on a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables, whole organic foods, and complex carbohydrates in moderation. And yeah, it's also been shown to reduce migraines the same way that the keto diet has been shown to reduce migraines. But no matter what diet you're doing, or if you're changing your diet or not, it's very important to focus on eating organic whole foods, not eating like packaged foods or foods, ready-made dishes that you microwave and all that stuff, because those have chemicals in them. So yeah, and then also it's important to have support. This is an important part of treatment because you interact with people in your daily life, so it's not just you that has full control over what you're doing most cases, especially if you're a child. So family members need to be able to support the person who is suffering from migraine. If it is with diet, if you don't cook all your food, the family members need to be on board with your change in diet. They need to be on board with you insisting on sleeping 8 hours in order to maintain routine in your life to reduce the amount of migraines you get. They need to be on board with just everything that you're doing in order to heal your migraines. Educators need to be on board if you're in an institution. They need to realize that you cannot be expected to be as productive as somebody who's not suffering from migraine. So you need to speak to educators to get whatever accommodations you need. And employers also need to be aware that if you are a migraine sufferer, there need to be certain accommodations as well. with your workload and everything. So yeah, basically support is important, and people will always have opinions of like how you should be treating your migraine or what you should be eating, because everyone thinks they're a dietitian, but really nobody knows what you should be eating for your migraines except you who is suffering from them and you who is listening to your body. So support is great. It really makes things easier. Yes, thank you. That's all.
I'm laughing here when she said everyone needs to know. I mean, wants to advise you what you should be eating, and you're the one who knows, because I know exactly what she means by that. But wow, thank you so much for that amazing presentation. Very, very informative. I'm seeing some health practitioners on the call who are clapping, which means you did a great job of this. And you know, that's what experience does, because when you experience something yourself, nobody can, take it away from you. Nobody can teach you. This is what you have gone through, and you're speaking from that standpoint. So much learned this evening. Thank you so much for that. So I'll start with questions while we get more questions from the group on the on the chat box. So you had talked about okay, can you just share with us what were your own main symptoms? What symptoms were your main symptoms that you got from this? Because I didn't hear that.
Okay, I had the headache.
Symptoms and syndromes.
Yeah, I had the headache. I had nerve tingling. I had muscle stiffening. And I had nausea, light sensitivity, and flashing lights, and also jaw pain.
Wow, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. Let me take a question on the chat box before I miss it. It says, is it possible to have migraine that manifests as only stomach aches, for example, and never as headaches or vision impairment?
Yes, it is possible.
So it's only stomach ache?
Yeah, it's possible.
Wow. Okay. Something else stood out for me. You said the medical practitioner, the school where you went, the center in your school where you went for consultations, they had alternative routes for you to take as well. So that means the medical body, is now more open to trying all these other alternative routes of treatment, like, diet and, vitamins and supplements and all of that. Okay, that's great. And then, okay, yeah. Just making sure that I'm not missing out anything on the chat box. So the other question I had as well was, you said in your presentation that the migraine has impact on people's lives, but you didn't flesh that out a little. What sort of impacts, what are the major impacts it can have on one's life that we should watch out for that can be disruptive? And yeah.
Well, just in general, since a migraine attack on average lasts 7 hours. So that person is in pain for 7 hours of the day. So it has an impact on concentration, on productivity, on mood. It just impacts the person's life, basically.
Yeah, I can hear you. And that family support is critical because, like I said in the introduction, no one else can really understand what you're going through. Nobody. That's just the sad thing about this. You can't really appreciate what that person is going through. Okay, so that's huge. Now, I want to go down to the supplements. And I know that you are very, first of all, before I say that, what made you go into all this research? What triggered you going? I know you did a lot of research when you were going through this whole thing. So what was the driving force? And yeah, I know this is your experience, but is that something you will advise people to do, to find out what it is going wrong with them and, find ways to help themselves as well, or work with their physician to help themselves? Yeah.
Yes, I did research because I guess after I did the whole 12-week pain psychology, occupational therapy, and physical therapy like program, I guess it just prompts you to take like control of your own health, because is pretty much what you're doing day by day that's combating your migraines. So, and I mean, the IV magnesium and the vitamin D was interesting. And I just started finding out what other supplements would have like a good impact on my health. So that's how I just became interested about what types of supplements you should be taking for what kind of things you're experiencing. And then also diet, like I always have known that like different diets just have an impact on your health depending on what you're suffering from. And I had a TA at the time who had type 2 diabetes, and she had switched to the keto diet and she was no longer diabetic. And then I started researching that diet in particular, and I saw that migraine was listed as one of the main diseases that people go on the keto diet for. So that's when I tried the diet, and it was good for me.
For you. Fantastic. Yeah. Yes, I know it actually worked for you. And I know it took us a while in the family to get used to the keto diet and make sure you had all you need for that as well. So great stuff there. That's awesome. So the other angle, I know you know that this platform is our Life by Secret platform, and we have incredible range of supplements for different things and general well-being. I remember clearly you were the one who made me realize the importance of the supplements that we have, some of which I have here, the booster, the hydro FX, the recovery, and the greens. So you were the very first one in the family to try these supplements, and then came, really made us know and the importance. And then you said something about supplements that help to remove free radicals or something like that. I can't say it exactly in your words, but I know that word, free radicals. Yeah, so I want you to tell us a little bit more about that. Which supplements in the Life by Secret collection that, can be helpful for these situations, for the migraine, and, for other things, as, you can talk, because you did a lot of research on these supplements, I remember, and gave me the confidence to move on with it. So let's share that with our viewers as well.
Yes, I think the Secret recovery and hydro effects supplements are the ones that are a powerful antioxidant. I think they use hydrogen technology, which hydrogen in the body acts as an antioxidant, basically, a precursor to the antioxidants that our body produces. So they increase the antioxidants in your body, and by doing that, it basically combats free radicals in your body. So I think these two, recovery with hydro effects and hydro effects, are the two secret supplements that have a benefit for if you're suffering from migraines.
Okay, great. Sorry for that heading. I didn't change my heading. So at least we know that in our collection, we have the recovery and the hydro effects that can help with those who are suffering from migraine. So this is very important. And for me, what is really huge is how much emphasis do people place on, just having the right supplements for their general well-being. I know in your discussion, you also mentioned something, the importance of the kind of foods we eat, like, staying away from processed foods from the supermarkets. A lot of people, that's what they can afford to eat and all. So when you are eating all those things and exposed to all that, what supplements should you be on to make up for what we are losing from our food and all of that, and why it is important generally to be on supplements? What you have in front of you on my screen is what we call our Health Made Simple in Life by Secret, which, is basically for your general well-being, corrects and enhances, like I call it preventive but corrective, for each person, different to who you are and what you have going wrong in your system. So this is what we have found from a lot of our users as well. And we wanted to share that as well with you this evening. So just throwing that little question about it, I just want you to emphasize a little bit or talk a little bit about your the importance of supplements from your own point of view and what you have researched and experienced. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that supplements are important today because, like I said, even our organic foods, like they have chemicals in them and they've been modified a little bit. So it's very difficult to get organic um, fruits and vegetables that come from an organic seed because a lot of the times they're called organic fruits and vegetables because maybe they're not grown with pesticides. But it doesn't mean that the seed was organic. And so we're losing a lot of nutrients still. So no matter like in today, like if you shop at the grocery store, unless you grow your own food, like you probably would benefit from supplements. So yeah, supplements are important because a lot of most of the chronic conditions or most of the illnesses that we go through these days are like made by our lifestyle and made by the way we live, the way that like our society has progressed to live. So lifestyle changes can have a huge impact. Dietary changes can have a huge impact. Supplements specifically have a huge impact.
Amazing, fantastic. Wow, thank you so much. That is great. So viewers, we've listened to a survivor, how she went through her own migraine. And of course, she made emphasis, you work in conjunction with your medical practitioner. And of course, at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your life. When you get to the point where you've tried everything and it's not working, or you feel what they're giving to you is causing more harm to you than good because of side effects, please, you can learn from what she's done to try a natural way, the supplements, the diets, and all of that. But always remember to do that in conjunction with a practitioner. They are also very excited to see results. I mean, that's what we've been experiencing with our Life by Secret products. A lot of people are taking this supplements and are seeing incredible results in different areas. And it's interesting what you said about chronic diseases. Of course, our lifestyle, our food intake, and we've noticed that a lot of people with chronic diseases like diabetes, arthritis, migraines and all have been benefiting from these supplements, and it's helping them to fight that situation and just improve the situation as well. So I really want to thank you so much, guys. Let's show her some love on the chat box and thank her. She's had shared incredible information with us today, shared her personal story and experience. And we are so, so grateful. I want us to show her some love on the chat box and thank her for being here tonight. So come on, team, what's happening? Life by Secret. Let's show Pearl some love before we call it a day tonight. And if you feel you have learned valuable information today, let's know if you have learned something. And, you know, what you don't know, you don't know. And that is the one thing, and we will never stop learning. You might not see the importance of this information for you today, but you might be able to help someone else tomorrow with this information that you have learned. So that is the very important thing about just learning and growing on a daily basis. So thank you so much. So yeah, lovely. Thank you, Pearl, so much coming on the chat box. That's my people. I love them. So thank you so much
Thank you for all
joining
of the
us.
messages. They're really nice.
Thank you. Awesome. I hope you've enjoyed being on our show tonight.
Yes, I've enjoyed it a lot. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. So viewers, thank you so much for a great evening. And we're going to catch you next week on our next episode. And you will see the interesting topic that we're going to share with you that will bring a lot of value once again to you and your family. And we'll also share with you the possible solutions that you can use for this. So thank you all and have a beautiful evening. Bye for now. Thank you, Pearl.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Zoom Master.